is not qualified, to vie for this position of Chief Justice. And right now we want to cross over to our City Center studios to join our reporter Murimi Mwangi, who has been following this vetting procedures from the start. And Murimi, good afternoon. We've just seen earlier this morning that Mr. Paul Kongani withdrew from this race, and by his own admission stating that he was not qualified. Well, some people would look, at his application as an act of ambition, but what was his application all about then?
Good afternoon, Sharon. After his withdrawal from that race to succeed Dr. Willie Mutunga as Chief Justice, I had a conversation with him and I put the same question to him, and he said that he was in for the race to succeed Dr. Willie Mutunga. And you remember even before the first question was put to him before the JSC, he said that that issue of qualification based on 15 years of experience ought not to be limited to the scope of working within the legal profession, because if that question of experience was to be put to him in terms of what he has been doing for the past close to 10 years, perhaps he would have had that qualification. But interestingly for him, he has only worked for 5 years cumulatively in a law firm and on intermittent internships, and therefore, technically speaking, he has not had proper representation of clients in court, and his application was somewhat taken to, to be a sort of an ambition of sorts for a man who was seeking a job but did not have the requisite qualifications for that particular job. And he said that in the future, perhaps when he has that qualification, including these 15 years of experience in the legal fraternity, he might reapply for that position, Sharon.
Right, Murimi, and I remember from that procedure, one of the commissioners, Mushelule, just asking him that this job actually entails heading the Supreme Court. And perhaps, Murimi, since you've been following this process, where are we at now? We understand that the 7 applicants who had earlier on not been shortlisted are part of the race. Where are we at this process of, the recruitment of the next CJ?
Well, Paul Udoto was one of the 7 candidates whose earlier applications had been rejected but had to be reinserted on that list of shortlisted candidates pursuant to that ruling that came from the High Court. And of course, with his exit now, the race to succeed Dr. Mutunga scales down to 12 candidates, 6 who had initially been shortlisted, the 6 now that remain from that addition that came pursuant to that ruling of the High Court. And tomorrow is the turn for Justice Aaron Ringera. Many will remember him for the infamous radical surgery of the judiciary shortly after NAC took power in 2002. And of course, many might remember him for his tenure as the director of the defunct Kenya Anti-Corruption Authority that was declared unconstitutional by the High Court sometime in 2000. And he was famous back then for, excellent command of Shakespeare proverbs and quotes, and it's going to be interesting to see if that is going to add to his CV and convince the JSC that he's best suited to be Chief Justice, despite his earlier rejection by the JSC at the stage of shortlisting of the candidates from the initial 14 that had applied for that position, Sharon.
Right. Thank you very much, Murimi Mwangi. They're just giving us